Hello there, Senators, and welcome back to Star Wars Democracy. Got another Galactic Senate discussion tonight. We're going to be talking about what if Anakin never turned to the dark side. So, talking about all of our thoughts, all of our theories, all of our speculation, fan fictions, all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about it all. But first, just a few housekeeping items. Hey, if you are watching this and you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have a goal here on Star Wars Democracy to get to 1,000 subscribers by June 1st of this year. We're currently, I think last time I checked, at 654. So we have quite a long ways to go, but I have a feeling that we're closer than we think. And I have a feeling that we could even get there much, much sooner than June 1st. But that is the goal. By June 1st, 2024, we want to have 1,000 subscribers on the channel. So share with a friend. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed already and help us achieve that goal. Also, one thing that you can do to help get this stream out there is hit that like button. So if you're watching this and you haven't smashed that like button, go ahead and give that like button a smash. I mean, what are we waiting for? Go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us out a ton. And then we are going to be, this is our third episode in the Galactic Senate discussion playlist, podcast, whatever you want to call it. So if you have a question you want us to talk about on the Galactic Senate discussion, this format, leave it in the comments section. And then even if you don't have a question, if you just want to get your thoughts out there and let your fellow senators see, post it in the live chat, but also let us know in the comments section what you're thinking about all this stuff. And then if you want to become a true senator of the channel, go ahead and become a member. You can become a member of Star Wars Democracy. There should be a link in the description of this live stream. It's $2.99 a month. You get access to things like our Galactic Senate Discord server, where we actually have audio conversations with our fellow senators. So you don't have to just communicate in a text box, in a chat like you're doing here. We can actually talk, not in person, but virtually. We can have some debate and talk about all of our favorite Star Wars things. You also get access to the loyalty badges that you probably see in the chat. I'll get to Tony's comments in a second, but Senator Tony is here. He has that loyalty badge next to his name in the chat. You get custom emojis, priority reply to comments, members only polls, and all that other good stuff. It is worth it. So it's $2.99 a month. I would appreciate your support. That is the best way to support the channel other than subscribing, because we want to get to those 1,000 subscribers by June 1st. And we're going to do it. We are going to do it. So we got Senator Tony here. Senator Tony says, hola, doing some laundry while watching the stream tonight. Sounds like a plan, Tony. Glad you can multitask. And he says, if you can't afford it, I can loan you money at 50% interest rate. So you guys do the math on that, because it is late and I can't do that. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about what if Anakin never turned to the dark side tonight. It's going to be fun. Shout out to Logan in the Discord server. That's another thing. If you haven't joined our Discord server and you're watching this, there should be a link that you can click on in the description of this video, this live stream. You can access the Discord that way. It's completely free. The only thing you wouldn't get access to is those channels, audio channels that you would get access to if you were a senator of the channel. But everything else is free. There's plenty of other text channels that you can access and talk to us on. Senator Tony is there. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Let's see here. We have Tony saying, we hope to raise enough money so we can get a bigger screen. Well, Tony, I'm doing a different format. So if you didn't know that these vertical live streams, they are a new setting, first of all, in StreamYard. So I use StreamYard to stream. And basically, if you do it in vertical format, it goes to shorts feed viewers. So we're reaching a completely different audience by doing the vertical format than if we were doing the horizontal format. So that's the reason for the vertical format. last week we had I had too much going on, so we only had one Galactic Senate discussion, um, and we talked about our favorite Star Wars movies. Um, didn't quite get to the other live streams, but this week we're going to do another live stream, and it will be in the horizontal format, Tony. So he said, I could barely read the questions. Well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't need to. Don't read. I'll read the questions. Don't worry about it. He says, I'm old. Don't worry about it. We'll have another stream this week. We'll do the horizontal format, and you'll get to see the lovely Galactic Senate chamber, not the chamber, but Palpatine's office in the background. Uh, it looks a lot better when it's in the horizontal feed. But nonetheless, like I said, we're reaching a completely different target audience, and so want to make sure that we're getting our fingertips in all different areas to spread the channel. So glad to have everybody. We have Andrew here. Welcome, Senator. Thank you for joining us. So let's get right into it. What are y'all's thoughts? We have 5 people watching right now. What if Anakin never turned to the dark side? Now, I think what would be interesting to start when we think about this what if is we have to think about Palpatine too, because Palpatine was obviously very instrumental in grooming Anakin to turn to the dark side. So, thinking about at what point Anakin turned to the dark side, I think the pivotal moment was when he had to make the decision to chop off Mace Windu's arm or hand or whatever you want to call it. And so when he was in Palpatine's office and he made that decision, that's I think what set him down the path fully. Obviously, there was little hints and little things here and there that started him on that path. But I do think that in Palpatine's office, that's what really kind of kickstarted everything. Um, and so I suppose, you know, when we think about what if Anakin never turned, I think we need to think about his relationship with Palpatine, because we know that his relationship with Palpatine was very, very strong. And like I said, Palpatine was very instrumental in putting Anakin on that path. So, my question to everybody in the chat is, assuming Anakin never turned to the dark side, do you think he would have killed Palpatine? Do you think he would have killed Palpatine? And when do you think he would have killed Palpatine? Could he have killed Palpatine? I'm going to turn on some background music while we ponder this. So let me know. What do y'all think? Could he or would he have killed Palpatine? Where's Senator Travis at? We need him. Travis at. He was going to pop it on here. Let's see. Tony says if he sliced Mace or not. Well, I think that's the question. Let's assume that he doesn't, because that's what starts him on. That was the decision that he made that ultimately kind of put him on the path. So let's assume, okay, the assumption is he tells Mace that Palpatine's a Sith Lord, and we get the a Sith Lord, and then Mace goes to confront Palpatine. They have their duel. Well, then that raises the question then, if Anakin never would have went to the office, do you suppose Mace would have killed him? That it's too dangerous he be left alive. And that's what Tony says here. If Mace lived, then he and Mace would have brought Palpatine to court. Okay. Okay. And then Tony says that Anakin would have had to wait longer to learn how to save his wife. But that wasn't true either. Right. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Like, okay, maybe we have to back up even further. Like, what has to be true for Anakin not to turn to the dark side? Does that question make sense? Like, does he not, like, he can probably never have met Padme, because Padme is the reason ultimately that he decides to go down the dark path, because he's manipulated into thinking that that was how the dark side was going to be how he saved Padme. Tony says, but then Padme would have died anyway because she gave up on living. Right, but do you think she would have died if Anakin wouldn't have turned? Because isn't that the whole thing, is she died from a broken heart because of Anakin? So if Anakin never turned, would she have died? And Tony says, Padme is the ultimate reason why. Yes. Okay, so honestly, for Anakin not to turn to the dark side, that probably means there's a universe in a situation where Padme doesn't exist, or at least Padme doesn't come into contact with Anakin. What do y'all think about that? Is that true? Is that the only way, or one of the only ways, that Anakin would have never turned to the dark side, is if Padme never would have met Anakin? Never would have met him on Tatooine? It would have just been Qui-Gon? So that's the thing. What if he never would have turned? What does that look like? So let's assume that Qui-Gon would have gone to Tatooine. We can assume that he would have found Anakin. We can assume that he would have tested his blood. We could assume that at that point he would have taken him back to Coruscant, to the Jedi Temple. But no Padme. But even without Padme, there's still his mother. Think about that. Cody says that's a lot to think about. It is a lot to think about. It is a lot to think about. Because you got to think about that, right? Like, not only was it Padme, but it was his mother too. The Sand People. So I don't know. Does that mean we have to get rid of his mother as well? Tony says his mom's death was heavy on him. Yeah, it was. Honestly, that's kind of, I mean, in a lot of ways, that's what spiraled him. For any senator in the chat, Tony says mom's death was the first level. Yeah, so Tony or anybody else in the chat, was that in episode 2 when he kills the Sand People, was that his first sign of the dark side? Was that like kind of the first glimpse that we get, or are there comics or other material out there? I'm not aware of any other material out there. I'm just curious. Yeah, so Tony says mom's death was the first level. Ahsoka was level 2. And then Padme was level 3. Yeah. So I was just wondering if that was the first time that we see that turn, or that side of Anakin. I was just curious. Tony says, then level 4 was not getting any trust with the council. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely layered for sure. Let me guess, level 5 is when Palpatine manipulates him into thinking that he can save Padme. Tony says he seems to be a lost child ever since Qui-Gon died. Yes. But is like I said, is I don't know if anybody else is in the chat that can respond, but is the when we see him in Attack of the Clones kill the Sand People, is that's the first glimpse that we get, right, of him turning to the dark side that we know of? That we know of? Just curious. I don't know, right? Because so there's a lot of things that happened that made Anakin turn to the dark side. And it's even further expounded upon in the Clone Wars with Ahsoka, like Tony said. And so I feel like Anakin was always on a fast track to the dark side. What if he never turned though? What if he would have, you know, what if he wouldn't have turned? What happens in that case? I think because like we already talked about, I think Palpatine, or we know that yes, all these events happened to Anakin. All these things happened to Anakin. Palpatine was kind of like the catalyst for like triggering that actual turn though. So I feel like without Palpatine, all of these things could have potentially happened. And sure, maybe he would have grown to distrust the Jedi Order. But he never would have turned to the dark side. And so that raises an interesting point of at what point in the Star Wars timeline that we know, let's assume that he takes the same journey as Ahsoka. So like, let's assume that we see Attack of the Clones, his mother dies. All of the Clone Wars events happen, and we see Ahsoka, the Jedi Temple bombing, Ahsoka's wrongfully accused, and then Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order. Do you think, let's say Anakin sees that, and then I think he would have had to have left the Jedi to not turn to the dark side. So that's a good what if too, is what if Anakin would have left the Jedi Order? Tony says, yes, Palpatine was the entire plan to have all this happen. If there were roadblocks, he would have corrected them to continue Anakin's turn. So that's the thing, Tony. That's the last question here. What if he would have just left the Jedi Order? Do you think that if he would have left the Jedi Order before the events of Revenge of the Sith, it would have been just fine? And that begs the question too. I know we're kind of getting deep here. Why did Anakin not leave? Why did he not leave? He had everything that he needed, right? He had Padme. He could have followed Ahsoka. It's not like he needed the Jedi, right? It's like the Jedi were a false sense of security for him. The only security that he had, I suppose. But he had Padme. Tony says he should have gone back to Mom right after Qui-Gon died. Yeah. Obi-Wan was afraid to go against Qui-Gon's wishes. And that would have been Obi-Wan's choice, but I guess what I'm saying is, why not just have... Why Qui-Gon didn't tell Anakin he had to train with Obi-Wan, you know? So Anakin could have just left. And it's like, why did he not leave? All of this could have been prevented. All of this could have been prevented. Obi-Wan, I failed you at the very end. Yeah. has several meanings. All from Senator Tony here. Yeah, it's tough, right? But the question of what if Anakin never turned to the dark side? I feel like, I don't know. This is kind of a this was kind of an interesting Galactic Senate discussion to have, because guess what? I'm not very good at fan fictions. So Tony says, failed you was also failing Qui-Gon's wishes. Yes. Yeah, lots of meanings, like you said, Tony. Lots of meanings. It's a heavy what if. Yes, it is a heavy what if. It was a lot to tackle. Shout out to Logan, though. I told him we would do it on Monday, and he's not even here. No, it's okay. Logan's in the Discord, so join the Discord if you haven't joined the Discord. Tony says it's not as easy for other characters. Well, and it's like, what would happen? What would, because like, I feel like the better what if, I feel kind of like what we've come to, is like probably nothing obviously would have happened the way that it did in Revenge of the Sith had Anakin left the Jedi Order. And so I feel like if Anakin would have left the Jedi Order shortly after Ahsoka did, I suppose Palpatine would have remained in control, because Anakin is the one who discovers first that Palpatine is a Sith Lord. And so if Anakin wasn't there as a Jedi, getting close, being appointed as Palpatine's personal representative and all this good stuff, I suppose that they would have never realized that Palpatine was a Sith Lord. And so Anakin would have left, but what would Anakin's role be in a galaxy where he's not a Jedi, but still a very, very powerful Force wielder? And could he have fulfilled the prophecy of the Chosen One? Could he have, still been the person that the Father, as we see in the Mortis arc, the Father identifies Anakin as the person to take his place. So the question, I think, could also become, did Anakin have to be a Jedi to take the Father's place, become the Chosen One, bring balance to the Force, etc., etc.? Tony says Palpatine made it impossible for Anakin to leave by layering all those levels I mentioned above. Yeah, I see what you're saying, because it's like before Anakin was aware of Palpatine having the power, or supposedly having the power that he needed to save Padme, I suppose Anakin was staying with the Jedi to become more powerful. He says that in Attack of the Clones, right? He's like, I'll become even more powerful than Obi-Wan. Like he craves that power. So you're right. It doesn't make sense for him to leave the Jedi Order either. You're right, Tony, because he, even without Palpatine, he was getting that power that he thought that he needed because of staying with the Jedi. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Senator Tony says Palpatine would have had to find a replacement. Dooku was not that person. Yeah, but now you got me back on the bandwagon that he would have never left in the first place, because he needed to stay with the Jedi to become more powerful. Tony says Anakin was pushed by Qui-Gon. Elaborate. Oh, to join the Jedi Order. Anakin was pushed by Qui-Gon to join the Jedi Order. Yes, and then he fell into that trap of needing to stay with the Jedi to become more powerful and all that good stuff. Travis, it's good to see you. A $9.99 super chat. Man, you are super generous. I just appreciate you so much. That means so much, Travis, that you sent that in. I cannot thank you enough. Our second super chat, and it's Travis again. Man, you are just amazing. I'm so lucky to have you part of the community. You just bring so much to our conversations, and I can't thank you enough for that. And that means a lot. It says, greetings, guys. Greetings to you too, Senator. Thank you for being here. Tony says, I need help. My fingers are falling off like Mace's hands. Yeah, Tony's been carrying the conversation here. Travis, we're discussing what if Anakin never turned to the dark side. And we've been talking about the fact that several things would have had to not have happened for Anakin not to turn. And I posed the question, and I feel like you would know this. At what point did Anakin start showing signs of the dark side? I feel like, if I understand correctly, the first sign of the dark side that he shows is in Attack of the Clones. So that would mean for him to not start down the dark path, we would have to remove his mother from the equation. Am I tracking with that? I feel like I am, but I'm not. Tony, he says, one pity. Tony, you did not have to do that. You guys are being extra too much. I can't accept. I mean, I can accept, but I can't accept at the same time. I just appreciate you guys so much. That means a ton. Thank you so much. I couldn't do this without you guys. And so I appreciate the support. It means so much. Yeah, can't thank you enough. I gotta re-highlight it just because I'm just so thankful. Travis and Tony, 2 senators of the channel, thank you so much for being here. Tony says, you will accept. Well, where is it? I'm trying to find it. There is one thing that is true.
I am the Senate.
I am the chancellor of this channel, so I accept. Thank you so much. I truly do appreciate it. Travis says, my first thought is Phantom Menace when Anakin is asked how he feels in the council, and he says cold. Oh. So it's like he was destined to turn to the dark side. So this what if is pointless. This what if is pointless. Tony says, Travis has a point. Let's start at the PM and walk down a what if line. So start with the Phantom Menace and then walk down the line of what if Anakin never turned. This gets challenging. This gets deep really quickly. As we've already found out, Tony can tell you. Travis says, Anakin senses the doubt, arrogance, and disdain that's being directed toward him. He isn't made to feel welcome or like even a human being. He's made to resent them. And then Tony says, Obi-Wan was pushy with Anakin. Yeah. So are you guys trying to tell me that it's inevitable that this what if is not even possible? Because I feel like that's what you're low-key trying to tell me. It's kind of a fun thing to ponder, though. It's like, what does a galaxy look like with no Vader? You know? Because, like, in my mind, the thing is it's a tough fan fiction because it's the whole point of Star Wars. Like, there is no story. The story that we know is not true without, Anakin becoming part of the Jedi Order and then falling from the Jedi Order, ultimately to be redeemed, falling to the dark side, that is, becoming Vader. Like, that's the story that we know, so it's kind of hard to get out of that mindset a little bit. Tony says he thought he was the chosen one and didn't want to take him back home. Yeah, because he did push him to stay. You're right. Travis says there's a catalyst at every turn that would be the difference between him turning or not. It's people caring about him that always pulls him to the light. So you're saying it could have been part of the Jedi Order, stayed part of the Jedi Order, that is, and had people have cared for him, he would have not turned to the dark side. Okay, so let's go on that, because so what you're saying, Travis, is all these things could have happened. He could have lost his mom. Perhaps Ahsoka, who did care for him, could have still left. Perhaps he starts having visions of Padme. But if people had been there for him to support him at the Jedi Temple, the Jedi themselves supported him, he would have not turned. So what does that mean for Palpatine? What did that mean? What does that mean for the galaxy moving forward if Anakin never turns to the dark side? Travis says Anakin goes dark when killing the Tusken, but Padme comforts him. He's almost convinced by Padme on Mustafar, but Obi-Wan appears as a threat, throwing him off. Yes, so it's providing further support for what you're saying. If people were there to care for him and comfort him, he probably would not have turned. I see what you're saying. But that's my question, I guess, is what then happens? What happens in a galaxy at that point? Where people were there to comfort him and he doesn't turn? What if? What if Anakin did not turn? Tony says Qui-Gon could have also turned Dooku to the light side, and with Anakin, a trio that could have defeated Palpatine. How's that? Okay, so you're saying that one way or another, Palpatine would have to be defeated. Travis says, during that confrontation between Mace, him, and Sidious, Palpatine knows how to cater to his feelings, so manipulates Anakin, forcing him to turn on Mace. Yes. Yeah. It's so interesting. And it's we keep getting back into the circle of, he had to turn to the dark side. Because what if is pointless, which you guys keep telling me. It's if he would have not turned to the dark side, he probably would have just defeated Palpatine anyway. I like to think that he would have turned into more of an Ahsoka-like character and just, kind of roam the galaxy and, done good in the galaxy, but not part of the Jedi Order. There you go. What if? Tony says, sorry, did my statement was treasonous again? Okay, just for you, Tony. Just for you.
It's treason, then.
Tony, back at it again. Travis says, imagine if when Anakin says, I need him, Mace had stopped and said, for what? That would have been it. Mace learning right then how Palpatine is grooming him. Anakin seeing it for what it is. Yeah. There's so many points, in that movie where it's what if he just would have not done it? But he does it every time. He does it every time. All right, what do you guys want to do? Is there anything you guys want to talk about? We can keep talking about the what if. We've been going for 35 minutes, so if we just want to move on from the what if, we can do that. Any news that you guys want to talk about? We can bring up an article. Let's see if there's anything out there actually. I wish I could get my other monitor. So I have another monitor, but it has gone to sleep or something, and it won't wake up. So that's fun. Tony said it's a hard what if. Yes. It became a very hard what if very, very fast. And also I don't have Journeyman here to bounce things off of and talk about. He might be coming on at some point, but Travis says Palpatine is stopped by Mace and Anakin Given Jar Jar and Padme a Coruscant, I see an emergency summit explaining what's happening, asking for a ceasefire between the Republic separatists. Okay. So there you go. Anakin doesn't make that final decision to turn, because that's what we're kind of talking about too, Travis, is like that was kind of obviously the pivotal moment where he made his official turn. And so if he doesn't do that, then that kind of like sets the stage where he could have been still part of the Jedi Order, yet, you know, not fully turned to the dark side. He would have still had his moments prior to that, but he wouldn't have fully turned. What do you think happens to the in here? I'll bring it back up. In the event that this happens, let's assume that Palpatine is arrested, perhaps maybe even killed. I doubt it. They probably wouldn't kill him. What do you think happens to the Jedi Order if Anakin stays? Do you think he starts to become more trusting of them? Travis says Yoda, Obi-Wan, and the other Jedi are successful in their campaigns before Order 66. Grievous, Dooku dead, there would be resistance and some contingency plans by Palpatine, however. Tony says, too easy, we just need Travis to come up with the answer. Yeah, we've just been waiting for you to show up, Travis, so you can give us the answer. We can move on. Tony says, where did you get the pile mic? Just Amazon. Good old Amazon. Yeah, I need to get a better setup. In my house, I don't have I don't have a spare room to set up like a studio or anything. But I really want to get like another, a different mic, a better mic. I need to get a better computer, and no, it's not to get a bigger screen, Tony. We've already debunked that. I can make it horizontal if I want to, but we get a better audience. We hit a different audience if we do the vertical stream. But yeah, I need to get some more equipment. Travis says, Anakin is inevitably revealed to be with Padme, being the last straw to either make him leave the Jedi or become a master, but everyone knows he brought back that balance like Qui-Gon said. Yeah, so there you go. He brought back the balance, and he didn't have to turn to the dark side. Do you think that he had to turn to the dark side to fulfill the prophecy? I've always wondered that. I believe it's accurate that he spent half of his life in the light, half of it in the dark. So I always wondered, for him to fulfill that prophecy, did he have to turn to the dark side, you know? Do you guys have thoughts on that? Travis says, the Order may see that Qui-Gon was right and saw what they couldn't, and elect to rethink their ways. Anakin and Padme raising their children, Obi-Wan being content. Yeah. Do you think the Order would have changed their mind, though? I almost think... I mean, if Anakin truly would have brought balance, like Qui-Gon said that he would, I suppose that the Order would be dumb not to listen to him and not to rethink their ways. But you brought up something else, Travis, where you said that Palpatine would have contingencies. What would be a contingency in this situation? The senator says, this is Tony, well, that saga ended quickly. Well, we can just, at that point, just scrap 4, 5, and 6. And for sure, scrap 7, 8, and 9. For sure. Scrap 7, 8, 9. Travis says, May says our ability to use the Force has been diminished, but the war is over and there's no facade to maintain. So they'd be more likely to admit their mistakes. Sure. I don't know. I feel like, yeah. Because, I mean, he says it, right? To Anakin, if what you've told me is true, you'll have gained my trust or earned my trust. And so you're right. They probably would have admitted it and everyone would have lived happily ever after. But you gotta think that Palpatine had a contingency for this. He had to have had a contingency for if the most powerful Force user there ever was, literally conceived by the Force itself, if that person does not join me, what am I going to do? He probably... Here's another question. Are you ready for the question? Are you ready? When do we think Project Necromancer began? Do you think, had Palpatine been able to, carry that out fully, do you think that he could have prepared and created a clone that was just as powerful, if not more powerful, than Anakin, had Anakin not turned? Tony says, Palpatine still had Tarkin, Thrawn, the Death Star plans, which were already in motion, and Maul was still out there. That's true. So, I mean, he needed Anakin, though, right? Tony says we say that, or I think even say we saw that in the Clone Wars. The beginnings with the holocron heist. Remind me of that arc. I don't remember that arc. Holocron heist. Let me look it up real quick. Holocron heist. Holocron heist. Clone Wars. Season 2, Episode 1. After disobeying orders, Ahsoka is sent to guard the Jedi archives, where Sidious has sent a bounty hunter to try and steal an important holocron. Cad Bane. Yep. There you go. Travis says, I remember Cad Bane is in it, and there you go. Premiere episode for Season 2. Aired October 2nd, 2009. Here, let me see if I can pull this up. It makes sense for me to just try to pull this up. Says Palpatine was stealing Force-sensitive children for his cloning processes to make an army of Force-sensitive beings. Okay. So that would be the start of the Clone Wars. Travis says there's a grim possibility where even despite defeating Palpatine, he still manages to put Order 66 into motion via one of his followers, like the people always seen with him. Yeah. That would be terrible. Okay, we don't have to pull it up. Yeah, so it's like someone else will execute Order 66. He still is able to bring down the Jedi. Gosh. Order 66 is so hard to watch. Every time. And it doesn't, they've redone it so many times now, and every time you watch it, doesn't matter what you watch it in. It could be the Bad Batch with Depa Billaba, it can be Kenobi. It's tough. Let's see. Travis says Palpatine ends up creating a civil war between Jedi and clones where it becomes genocide versus genocide, the Jedi looking worse. Yeah. So you're saying even if the Jedi could have still went down looking like the traitors. Hmm. And how would Anakin fit into that? Don't you think he would? I feel like Ahsoka would find him and like convince him to like. I don't know. Tony says Travis Mitchell. Yes, that would work. After Order 66, the Jedi would start a civil war with the clones. All would die, and Palpatine would still win. Okay, I knew it.
It's treason, then.
You're just set on finding a scenario in which Palpatine wins, Tony. I knew it. Travis says, at the end of it, the Jedi would be held responsible for the artificial creation of life, going against their own beliefs and indoctrinating those children to war only to kill them. Okay, so this is Tony says, I'm out of here. Treason is Tony. This is interesting. We've taken a turn. We've taken a turn. You see, when I originally thought this was going to happen, I was like, "Oh, Anakin wouldn't turn the galaxy. There is no empire. Everything is great." And it's like, no. You guys have reached a conclusion where Palpatine is still victorious, which makes sense, right? I mean, it's Palpatine, so. Tony says, "Help! I have to get a bigger lightsaber." Treason is Tony. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. Okay, so what if Anakin never turned to the dark side? He never turns to the dark side, but Palpatine still wins in the end. Travis is still going. It says, with a summit calling a ceasefire, explaining Palpatine manipulated both Separatist and Republic. Maybe the Federation and Jedi have to team up against the clones. Oh, so then the Jedi doesn't. So if the Federation and the Jedi team up, isn't there a line though where I'm just thinking, because when you said separation Jedi, it made me think that the Jedi would be the generals of the droids, which is fascinating to think about, I must say. But isn't there a line in the Clone Wars where like Yoda's like, we won't lead droids or something? I could be making that up. Someone fact check me on that. I swear there's a line though where he's like, we won't lead droids. I want to say it's in the first episode because I recently just watched it. Tony says it's Palpatine's saga anyway. It's not about the Skywalkers. Rey Palpatine. I mean, Ian McDermott. Like, let's think about this. Well, okay, that can't be her. But how many movies is Ian McDermott in? He's in 1, 2, 3. He's not in 4. He's technically in 5. Technically in 6. That's 5. And then he's in 9. No. 1, 2, 3. Wait, no, he's in. Do we count Kenobi? No, we don't count Kenobi. Let's just talk about the films. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 5, and then 9 is 6. There we go. And then Anakin is in 6 movies as well, technically. But Hayden Christensen is only in 2, 3 if you count Return of the Jedi at the end. So Perhaps it's just as much about Palpatine as it is Anakin. There you go. Tony says, we'll see in the Acolyte the beginning of this takeover of the Republic and the Jedi. Are you guys excited about Acolyte? Out of 10, and I guess we'll get Tony's AI rating, but that's fine. Out of 10, how excited are you guys for the Acolyte? Tony says, treason wins again. He's in everything. It isn't so much, this is Travis, it isn't so much that they lead the droids, rather that separatist systems seeking protection from said droids would be rejoining the Republic to take it back from the Palpatine contingency. Gotcha. Travis says, we see a small-scale version of this arc in Rebels when the clones have to team up with the droids after Ezra explains how the war doesn't make sense. Yeah. Tony says, is there a Palpatine action figure? You plug it in and he zaps you. That's funny. AI says 9.99999. There is no 10. So are you really that excited about it, Tony? I want to be excited about it. I'm just nervous. I'm just a little bit nervous. Cool. Okay, I'm glad you're excited about it. I would say in terms of excitement, I'm at like a 7.5 out of 10. You know? 7.5 out of 10. It says something different. I'm open to being wrong again. Travis says, with people like Buck's Bonteri and Ahsoka, the Jedi would have to acknowledge their past mistakes, and the people they outcast as they are the ones who can fix everything. I don't know. I feel like after I've made my last video on Ahsoka not being a Jedi, I'm jaded by the Jedi. I don't have a lot of faith in them. But that's okay. That's okay. Well, I tell you what, guys, we have been going for 53 minutes. I think we pretty much answered the question, or let's be honest, Travis answered the question. What if Anakin never turned to the dark side? I think our friend Logan in the Discord will be satisfied with this. And so we'll be sure to, Travis, you'll have to, we can, and Tony as well, we can let Logan know that we have made the final determination on what if Anakin never turned to the dark side. And the answer is Palpatine would still win. So there is no way around it. Palpatine will be successful. I mean,
I am the Senate.
He is the Senate after all. So Travis says 6.5 for me. People say they want something new, and while that's great, I'm a sucker for things I've seen before. Yeah, change is hard. Change is very hard. I'm curious to see what it's going to be like. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm at a 7.5 right now, though. So, yeah. So, yeah, like I said, guys, if you for those who may be watching this on the replay or anybody who's watching right now, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by June 1st. We're at 654 right now. And so tell your friends, tell your Discord servers, whoever you got to tell, go let them know to come subscribe to Star Wars Democracy. Like I said, the goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by June 1st. It'll be absolutely awesome. I have a ton of faith that we can do it before that, but I need all the help that we can get. So go tell all your friends, like I said, all the Discord servers that you're in, to come hang out with us. It would be a lot of fun to get more people over here. If you aren't part of the Discord server, there's a link in the description of this live stream. You can hit that link, join the Discord server, and we can chat all things Star Wars, even when we're not talking in the stream. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. Leave a comment below for an idea. If you have an idea on what a future Galactic Senate discussion podcast or topic is that you want to talk about, you can certainly do that. And then what else? What am I missing? Oh, becoming a member. That's the best way to support me on this platform on YouTube, is becoming a member. So if you want access to things like the Galactic Senate of the Chamber Discord audio channel, just become a member. It's $2.99 a month. Like I said, it's the best way to support me on this channel. I could not appreciate it more if you became a member. You also get priority reply to comments, the loyalty badges like you see our good friends Tony and Travis have in the live chat and in the comments section, custom emojis, all that good stuff. It's all there. There's a link to that as well in the description of this video. So if you want to become a member, that helps out a ton. I think with that, I don't know. Let's see. Tony says it's a toss up with Discord discussion or YouTube. I like the Discord, but excludes other non-members. Yeah, I think we got to figure out a way to do both. We've been doing discussions on Discord and the Senate Chamber audio channel on Wednesdays. It's been a lot of fun. Tony and Travis are both there, and we get to talk about Star Wars, and we don't have to, chat back and forth through the live chat and then me answering your questions. We get to do it in real time. It's a lot of fun. Tony says, I can't wait to attain treason level. Maybe I'll have to create a whole nother tier for membership, Tony, and it's just treason. But anyway, yeah. Come chat in the Discord. I'll be there tonight. I would love to keep talking with you guys. We'll stream this week. I'm thinking we might stream tomorrow. What do you guys think about that? Should we stream tomorrow? Because we didn't do 2 streams tomorrow. Or yes, last week. We didn't do 2 streams last week. We only did 1. I think we can stream tomorrow. We can cover like news and stuff, and then maybe we can do another stream on Thursday. I can't do it on Wednesday, but Thursday we might be able to do a stream where we can recap the Bad Batch. Yeah, because we can stream tomorrow, catch up on any news that's out there. I know there's like some Acolyte stuff going on with like Twitter and stuff. Nothing like major, but yeah, we could do that. Catch up on news, recap last week's Bad Batch episode, and then on Thursday we can also do another stream. Tony says with Journeyman, yes, we're going to try to get Journeyman on. I think he had some church stuff tonight, so definitely has his priorities straight. I'm glad that he's hanging out with his peeps there. But yeah, we'll try to get him on tomorrow and Thursday, and that way we'll do 3 streams this week. 3 streams. By the way, for those of you who are here, if you're a subscriber, you'll have to let me know. You can let me know here in the comments section, wherever. But I'm always torn on whether to do, should I do streams or videos? I feel like people like streams better, but I don't know. I like doing the live streams, and I also like creating videos, but you'll have to let me know what you prefer. Tony says Thursday's better with me. We'll do Thursday for sure, Tony. I want to make sure that we get a few streams in this week, and looking forward to having Journeyman on so we can talk Star Wars. So with that, I think let's go ahead and adjourn the stream. I can get a motion to adjourn in the chat. We will adjourn and go from there. I'll just assume that you guys are giving the gavel emojis in the chat, motioning to adjourn. With that, we're going to adjourn. May the force be with you all always.